Virginia's for lovers.
It is. Famously.
Interracial lovers,
famously loving versus Virginia.
Actually, guys, you know what's so crazy? We were that couple.
Oh, okay. we are taking that out.
Why can't I keep that in?
That's crazy.
We were the couple that made it legal.
Okay.
Hello, and welcome back to Gasp, the podcast for the gays, the girls, and especially the gay girls. If you're watching on video, you can see that there's some things different. Because first off, I have my first guest ever, the renowned, the famous,
okay,
the intelligent,
I don't know about all that.
The smart, the beautiful, the gorgeous. My girlfriend, Sophia.
Thank you.
Welcome to the pod, Sophia.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I just felt like my first guest had to be you.
This is a thrill. I'm so excited to be here. And I feel so official with my mic.
Yeah, we had to get another mic for guests, so she's testing out our first new mic.
It's awesome. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, baby. And we are in Virginia because this is not my New York apartment. You can see. I'm in Virginia at my parents' house. We're here for the weekend watching my dog, Sneakers. Sneakers, say hi.
In her beautiful fall sweater for this lovely fall day.
Do you want to pick her up and show? She's a little mad right now. Say hi, Sneaky. Okay, she doesn't really like wearing clothes. She just groaned. I don't know if you could hear that. She doesn't really like wearing clothes. And she's just been in an insane mood. I think she misses her parents.
I think she misses her parents.
Yeah.
But they'll be back soon.
And we have a little collar on her, so if she barks, it's not a shock. It's just like it gives her a beep. So don't worry. There's no animal cruelty on this episode.
PETA, if you're listening. There is no animal cruelty.
But yeah, we're recording on a lovely Sunday fall morning. Happy fall.
Happy fall. I am so excited.
You'll also see that I have a cute little birthday balloon here because it was my birthday last week. And when I came home, my dad gave me a birthday balloon. So I just felt like it has to be in the episode. This episode, we are going to talk about how me and Sophia met, what our coming outs were like and how they were different. And obviously we're going to talk to Sophia about Gaylor because there's some people that are interested to know if she's also a Gaylor and how her Gaylor thoughts differ from me.
Sure.
Can't
wait to get into it.
But first we want to talk about my murder mystery party really quickly because
it was so fun.
It was really fun. And I turned 27.
You did, and that's exciting. 27 is going to be a great age.
Yeah.
I'm a couple months younger, so I can't wait to turn 27.
I know. You have a very good outlook on age. I think I do too, but it's just like people on the internet, not you guys, but like there was a post that I made it. I was like 24 or 25, and I made some TikTok, and someone was like, people were like, you're way too old to be talking on TikTok.
Yeah, I think that's crazy. I also think that the internet...
Are they going to push me off the internet?
No, the internet is so weird because, first of all, like when you're in high school and college, more so high school, I think, than college, mid-20s feels like so old because you just like... I don't know. I didn't really know any people in their mid-20s when I was in high school. And so I was like, why
would you?
Right. Right. That's good, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just seems really old. But then, they'll be 27 one day and they're going to be like, oh, wow, this is extremely young.
We're so young.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're in our 20s. Oh, and then people on the internet were like, yeah, you look 41. Did you remember that?
I do. Someone
said, you look 41.
I just love the specificity of that.
41.
41. Not 40. Not 42. No. And
by the way,
And
I don't look 40. Have you guys, like, first of all, I'm so excited for us to be like in our era of like childless 30s, and I also think we're gonna look stunning in our 40s. I don't think 40 is like old, but I don't think I look 40.
no, you don't look 40. And I don't know what, I would love to pick their brain about like what a 41-year-old looks like and
Right.
like
Right.
why you specifically look 41.
Right. And I
pretty
don't
funny.
want to be like, oh, I don't want to look 40, but I think it's fair to not want to look 15 years older than you are.
I think that's fair. I
Yeah.
would say that that's fair.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I was on an airplane 2 years ago. I don't know if I told you the story. And they asked me, I was at the exit aisle and I was sitting with my mom. And they said, ma'am, is your daughter old enough to be sitting in the exit aisle? And she said, yes. I was 24, 25,
Right.
maybe even.
Yeah.
They said, is she older than, because I don't know if it's, is it 15?
I don't know.
I think it's 15.
Maybe.
She said, are you older than 15 to me? So do I look 14 or do I look 41?
There is no in between.
Yeah.
You either look 14 or 41.
Yeah. Oh, also, guys, look at my fall nails.
For those listening in, we have a beautiful maroon fall color
Sing
on
it,
Hailey's
Sophia.
nails. Maroon.
So also, my really good friend, one of my best friends ever, Madeline O'Brien, who you know.
Yes,
She
of
sent me a
course,
voice
love.
memo of thoughts about my podcast, and she said I didn't like the singing.
Oh, well,
So-
I just sang. So Madeline.
No,
told
but
me.
but like she needs to grow up.
Oh.
We're going to be sarcastically singing on this podcast. Madeline, I will continue to sing. Okay, murder mystery.
Murder mystery.
So I'd never done a murder mystery. I decided to do it because Sophia's sister or her sister's friend had a murder mystery party.
Yes.
And what was fun about it is that I didn't know who was going to be the victim or the killer.
Right.
So my character was Nikki Simpson. It was Y2K themed.
Right.
And because Madonna does live around the block from my apartment. Can I say that?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I don't know.
From my apartment, and I thought it'd be fun to be like Y2K Madonna-esque party.
Yeah,
Right?
it was a great theme.
I know, like, obviously 80s were her heyday, but I think of like early 2000s as like a big Madonna era. I don't know.
Yeah, Madonna's just always with us. You
Yeah.
know, doesn't matter the decade.
So I was Nikki Simpson. Like, I had a bunch of other characters there. There were like other scorned stars and who else? Like a wrestler and a bunch of other people. And Sophia, who are you?
Yeah, so my character was Joe Jive.
Joe Jive.
Joe Jive was the owner of a big famous record label. Had a bunch of enemies.
This is all fake, by the way.
Yes, all fake. But what's so fun about these murder mystery companies is they really like build a character's like background and give you so much info on like how to really personify the character. So I was Joe Jive, record label owner and producer, and had a bunch of like enemies. And so it turned out
I was one of your enemies.
it's true. Everybody was an enemy. Everybody hated me.
Yeah.
And
what's so funny was like one of the rumors was like that I had hooked up with Joe Jive.
was it?
Yeah, someone came up to me and they were like, "You're a whore. You've been hooking up with Joe Jive," my character. And I was like, "I would never hook up with Joe Jive."
Wow, I don't remember that in my little booklet. And so that was the funny thing is at the start of every round, there were 3 rounds, you would get little booklets that told you, what you were supposed to do, go to talk to other characters. And the beginning of the second round was when the murder was supposed to occur. Rounds were like 30 minutes. And I didn't read my booklet closely enough to see that I was the victim and that I was supposed to die like at a certain time. So the round is going on forever. And we had to break character a couple times. Hailey broke character a couple times.
Because I was the host and I was like, "All right, remember to look at your booklets because someone has to die soon."
And then I looked down and I was like, on an unrelated note, I'm going to leave the room right now and die. But it was really, really funny. And then I came back as the detective, which was very fun.
Yeah.
And like facilitated everybody figuring out who the killer was. It was a really, really great
It was
party.
very fun.
Okay.
Yeah, my birthday was really fun. But let's get into the meat of the episode. And the meat is...
Did you have some exciting news that you wanted to share?
Oh, yes, I do. Really, really exciting news that will be known to people in hopefully 3 weeks. I don't even actually know when this will be aired,
Yeah.
if I can even say aired, but it involves me, it involves Sophia, it involves a camera crew.
It's a very exciting project.
And that's all I'm going to say, is that there is a project in the works that I'm a part of. And it involves Gaylor.
And stay tuned because it's very exciting stuff.
It's crazy. So I'm very excited about that, but I just wanted to let you guys know a little tidbit of it. But yeah, okay, back to this episode.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's get into how we met.
Yeah, how did we meet?
So
wait, first of all, we've been dating for 3 years.
we have our anniversary's coming up next Sunday.
Next Sunday, yeah. And guess what? Our anniversary is October 13th. 13. Isn't that just kind of ironic and perfect?
It's perfect. My birthday is also a 13th, so 13 has always been my lucky number.
Yep. And it's a Swiftie number.
We have been dating for 3 years, which is amazing.
Does it feel like 3 years to you?
It does and it doesn't. Sometimes it feels like it's been longer, just
Yeah.
the like amazing things that we've like done together. We've done so much and like we know each other so well that it feels like we've been dating for longer than that. But then also 3 years is a really long time, and it kind of just feels like yesterday that we started dating.
I know.
To me sometimes. So yes and no. It feels like it's been longer, but then it also feels like it's been shorter. Hailey and I are from around the same area in Virginia. We grew up in Virginia and went to high schools near each other.
Virginia.
Good old Virginia.
Virginia's for lovers.
It is. Famously.
Interracial lovers, famously.
Famously loving versus Virginia.
Actually, guys, you know what's so crazy? We were that couple.
We are taking that out.
Why can't I keep that in?
That's crazy.
We were the couple that made it legal.
Okay. From Virginia, we didn't know each other in high school, but we had a lot of mutual friends.
Apparently, we were at the same parties.
We must have
But
been.
we didn't know it.
Yeah, but we must
Also,
have been.
we both played. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty invisible string.
It is.
We both played like soccer.
Yep. In the same area. Well, it's actually funny. So it is funny because as we've been dating, we've talked about obviously like all of the things we did growing up, and there's a lot of overlap. And so it's kind of like we definitely were in the same place at the same time. The water mine, for any listeners who are familiar, I don't know if the water mine is like a regional thing or it's just in Virginia.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's a water park that is absolutely off the chain electric. It's amazing.
That's hilarious.
And we both were there. Like we both talked about how we would go there all the time with our family. So we were definitely at the water mine.
We definitely were like met and like played in the water together.
Well, I don't know. No, I feel like our parents would remember that. Like,
I don't think we
no?
would.
I don't know if we were in the same soccer league because I was in like the stage there. It was above a house league, but way below a
Can I
travel
say the
league.
league?
Yes, please.
It was called the Friendship League.
No, suburban friendship.
Suburban Friendship.
Which is so fair. My parents.
Aw, she couldn't handle too much competition.
Well, no, that's not. Well, I don't know about that. That might have been part of it because sometimes competition does stress me out. But I think it was actually my parents, amazing parents, were like, I don't know if I want to spend my weekend
true.
2 days off driving you around for soccer. And I'm like, that's so fair.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we played soccer in the same league, but we definitely did a lot of things that were similar growing up. So we officially met freshman year of college at William & Mary.
Yeah. Sorry, my eyes got stuck on the tree outside. Well, yeah, we met at William & Mary freshman year. We lived in the same dorm hall. You were in the basement and I was on the first floor. And her roommate was my friend. So we would, I think what's so crazy is like we don't actually know the first time we met.
No, we don't. I don't remember.
I'm still waiting for like, again, I feel like we're going to be like looking through pictures. We probably met hanging out in your dorm room.
Yeah, so that's how we met, I guess.
And we were just like tangentially friends, but we got closer as friends. We were never like best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got closer our junior year.
Yeah. We both did orientation. So like orientation is like a huge thing at William & Mary, and it's just an insane cult.
Yeah.
And
Waking
so like
up at 5. It's like it's
you like
exactly
help lead the freshmen.
It's exactly the stereotypes of orientation leaders at colleges, for sure.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah, because she ended up being one of the directors.
Okay, that's not that important, but
Well,
I loved it. It was fun, but it is the stereotypical like 5 a.m. wake up, like super kind of overbearing sometimes. We got really close during orientation because the like staff that you're on of orientation aides is like 30 people, and you just get really close. And I definitely thought that Hailey was really cute, and I kind of had a crush on her a little bit, but nothing really like happened junior year or senior year or even after we graduated until like 2021.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
It is crazy. Hailey was just about to move to LA, and I was still in DC, and before you left we kind of like had a conversation of like,
I think we were like, at least in my mind, I was like, this is something that I hadn't figured out yet. Like, we both knew it was so much more like we both knew that this was more than a friendship, but like hadn't actually even like thought it out loud yet. Like I hadn't actually thought it out loud.
Yeah.
And then when I did, I was like, we need to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. So we talked about that before you left, but then obviously like you had a lease, like everything was set up for you to go to LA. So we were like, it doesn't really make sense for us to start dating right now because you're moving across the country. So we just kind of like
kept talking.
Yeah. Waited to see what was going to happen and like
FaceTiming. I remember on the flight over there, which is actually really cute.
It is sweet.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the story?
Yeah. So the day Hailey was leaving, she was at the airport.
And I was high. Typical me.
Right. Waiting to board her flight to LA. We were like FaceTiming about something, and we were talking for so long on the FaceTime that you almost missed your flight.
Yeah, I literally almost missed my flight. They were like, last call. And I was like, what?
You were like, oh, I gotta go.
And then you were like, wait, if you miss your flight, you can like come back.
Yeah, it was like really, we were so like sweet and like
it was sweet.
Nervous around each other. Yeah. It was really cute. And,
but then we just like kept talking when I was in LA. And when I on the flight there, again, I was high and it was nighttime. So I was like, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And I felt like it was the kind of the thing where I knew I didn't want to stop talking to you. That would feel like premature to just like cut something off for no reason.
Right.
But obviously I didn't know if we could like date at that point.
Right.
So I was like, let's just keep doing it. Let's just keep talking as long as it's like fun.
Yeah. That was my big thing too.
Yeah.
Was like, is this still fun? And is this like not, hurting me or you? Like, are we being honest with each other and
like
ourselves?
Straining our like, yeah, is the long distance going to be like, well, you know what they say, if the heart grows fonder.
Close. You're really close.
But
absence makes the heart.
Whatever. But like, I think it's the kind of thing where it's like, will you start forgetting about that person? Like, I'm in an entirely new environment.
Right.
I didn't know anyone in LA except for one person. I didn't have a job out there.
Yeah.
So, and I still was like wanting to talk to you.
Yeah.
Even when things got busy and I made friends and everything like that.
Yeah.
So when I came back for like our college homecoming, then we were like, I actually remember going to the homecoming being like, we're either going to date after this or like break up.
Yeah.
Because we can't just keep like talking and like hanging out.
Right. Because that was the first time we would have seen each other in person in like a couple months.
Yeah.
And we didn't know how those months were going to turn out. Obviously, we ended up talking a lot. And yeah, it was that homecoming. It was October 2021. I remember after that weekend, we were like, okay, I think we should like have a conversation about what this is. And then we like officially started dating, which was so fun. And then like a month after that, I was like, well, I would love to come visit you in LA. And I came, I think, for like 5 days. And I didn't realize this until I was talking to one of my friends after the trip. And he was like, how was it? Like, was this the first like alone time and like long period of time that you guys had spent together?
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I guess so. Like,
yeah.
We both like kind of didn't realize that this was like going to be the first like time.
Right.
We like spent a week together, like
Right.
just us. And the
That's
rest is
how we
history.
met.
I guess the rest is history.
Yeah. Obviously, I moved back from LA. We were doing long distance for 2.5 years.
Wow. We really were.
Well, I would say 3.
I would say 3. And it was so hard, but I also think like remembering to like, so I was working remotely for a couple years before I started up grad school, which I'm in my 2nd year of grad school right now.
Law school.
Yes. And so when I was working remotely those 2 years,
Yes.
law, I don't know. Okay. When I was working remotely, I was able to be out in California a bunch, which was really, really fun. But then, yeah, obviously when I started school, I had to be in DC a lot more than I had been before. And so that was extra hard, I think, because it was a lot on you to have to travel back to.
I was traveling every 2 weeks. I was coming from
every
LA
2-3
back
weeks.
to DC.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We couldn't do it anymore.
It was crazy.
And now I live in New York, but that sounds more intense than what it actually is like, because pretty much we're together every single week.
We are. We're together all the time.
And we're moving in together in April.
I'm so excited.
In DC.
It's going to be awesome for my last year of grad school.
Are you excited?
I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm excited to do like moving vlogs and finding furniture together.
Yeah. I'm already like, anytime I see something that I like love on TikTok,
Well, we
I'm like
need to
bookmarking
actually
it.
start.
Yeah. I'm like bookmarking it already. Sneakers sees a squirrel.
And she's out.
She's
so cute in her sweater.
She looks so cute.
Also, speaking of dogs, we want to get a dachshund. Sophia's really into dachshunds.
I am.
Before dating you, I didn't really like get the appeal of like really small dogs.
Sure.
I like grew up with like a big lab, a big
Yeah.
chocolate lab. So like I just like always liked big dogs. But you really made me understand the cuteness of small dachshunds.
Yeah, they're just, for as long as I can remember, they've been some of my favorite dogs. I think they're so cute and silly, and like I love big dogs, but I think also like living in a city and wanting a dog, I'm like, I feel like I want a smaller dog first before I'm able to like, you know, have the space for a big one.
Right.
But I love big dogs too. But the thing with dachshunds is just like, I love how close they are to the ground. Like their little legs.
We need to get her a ramp because of their back issues.
Oh yes, we're gonna do all of that.
Yeah. And we're gonna name her Velma. And it's because we're huge Scooby-Doo fans.
Love Scooby-Doo. Some of the best cartoons, the old like 60s versions are amazing. They're so comforting. They're so fun to watch.
And Velma is obviously her favorite. Well, not necessarily favorite character, but she's just the lesbian. So
right. She's the one
love Velma,
that we identify with the most.
I think I identify with Daphne.
No, yeah, I'm kidding. I think I identify with Scooby. So Sneakers is back from chasing the squirrel. I don't think she got her, but she had fun while doing it.
I wanted to talk about our coming outs.
Sure.
And how ours differed from each other, because first of all, we are very lucky to have good families.
Yeah.
Do you think you had an easier coming out than I did?
Yeah, I was.
But yeah, tell your story.
Yeah, I was
your truth.
I was really lucky, and I'm really grateful that I can look back on my coming out story with such like joy and like safety. And I know that that's really not the case for everybody. So I like really recognize that. And yeah, I'm just like really grateful for it. But yeah, so like, you know, everybody's like, when did you know you were gay? Like, I think I always knew. I feel like looking back, you know, maybe I didn't have the language to be like, oh, I'm gay, but I knew that the way that I was talking with some of my friends, like they were just thinking about things differently than I was. Like they were thinking about guys that were cute, and I was like, oh, I didn't really feel that way. Like, I wonder why.
Can I ask you the question that we were talking about 2 nights ago? Because I was like wondering, we were talking about like, you were like, I only pictured having kids like with a woman.
Yeah.
And I was like, when did you have that realization? Like, did you ever think you would ever be able to be with a woman?
Sneakers just like growl.
She's so homophobic.
No.
Well, whenever we kiss and whenever we talk about gay things, she's like,
I think it's when we give each other affection, she's just jealous that it's not her.
Yeah. But yeah, like I just think it's so, I mean, I was raised more Catholic, so it's so interesting talking to you about like how you thought about women, and like I feel like you at least recognized you had the link, like you wanted to create something that you didn't already see, which I think is really amazing. Like my brain, your brain was so strong back then. Like I had never, because I was like, did you see any like lesbian relationships or like gay relationships that made you think like I want that? And you were just like, oh, it's because I just knew I wanted to be with a girl. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I don't really remember like seeing on TV or in movies like lesbian couples or gay male couples for that matter. Like I don't remember that. Like that's not really ingrained in my memory. I think it's really just like, I don't know if my brain was stronger. It was just like,
we were creative.
I guess so.
You were like, I think I want to be with a woman. Has anyone else ever done that before?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've always been like a big romantic and like always knew I wanted a family.
You are a big romantic.
And like kids and all that. And I just always, when I realized that I wasn't thinking about guys or boys in that way that my friends were growing up, like a big kind of like example of that is like I was a huge Twilight kid, like loved all the Twilights. Shout out to my parents for taking us to the midnight premiere of all of those movies, which is like one of the most amazing experiences. But all of my, the whole fandom was like Team Edward or Team Jacob. And I was like, why isn't Bella an option? Because I'm Team Bella.
Has anyone ever heard of gay people?
Well, no, and I didn't know that it was like, oh, I'm gay. Why isn't Bella an option? It was just like, I'm not focused on them. That's what I'm
saying is like the fact that you know you were focusing on her, but you noticed that you were focusing on her.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Smart.
Well, that was kind of like, when people say, when did you know? I'm like, well, looking back, I always knew because I was not focused on.
But it's pretty amazing because it's like I was focusing on girls, but I didn't know I was focusing on girls.
Yeah.
Like my brain, I don't know if it's the Catholicism or like I just like couldn't think that was not like like I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
I had to see an example to know it could happen.
That makes sense. And also, like, I say this now, like, hindsight's always 20/20. I don't know if in those moments, I don't know if I knew, like, oh, I'm thinking about it differently. Like, that's just the way it makes sense in my head now that I always knew. But, like, to your question of, like, how that happened, I don't know. I think it was just, like, never thinking about, like, I never pictured myself ending up with a man. I never wanted that, and even though I didn't come out to my family like until freshman year of college, like I was never, and this just like goes back to like how amazing my family is, like I was never worried about telling them. So I think that barrier in my mind like wasn't there of being like, oh, I can't picture this because I don't know how my family would react or something like that. Like I was never worried about telling them. And so I think that also helped me be like, oh, like I don't have to picture a future with a man.
Was there ever a part of you, I don't think I've ever asked you this question, was there ever a part of you that was like, wait, maybe I am bisexual, or like I know I'm not into men at all?
No, I never thought I was bisexual.
Yeah. I just knew you were never into guys.
I was never really attracted to men.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, so and jealous.
Like I was never really attracted to men. So I never thought that I was bisexual. I also don't think I was like thinking about all that terminology back in high school when it like really became sort of like more fully formed in my head. I wasn't really thinking like, am I bisexual? Am I a lesbian? I was just like, I know I'm gay.
Right.
So then like just naturally when I came out freshman year, I came out as gay, and like in my mind and, explaining that to my family and my friends, it was just like, I'm a lesbian.
Right.
But I just never, I just like never experienced that attraction. So like it never crossed my mind that I would be bi.
We've talked about this before, and like I don't, it's hard to know because we haven't had each other's experiences.
Yeah.
But I just like wonder, I do think it took me a longer time to figure out I was gay because I knew that I was interested in men.
Right.
And I think that's along with the Catholicism, but it's just so interesting, like the differences and like coming out like based on like your identity and like, yeah.
And like external factors that you almost don't realize at the time how that they affect your coming out, like religion, family. Like obviously now, like from where we're sitting as like people who've been out for a while and like are in a relationship, like, and even if you're not in a relationship, like all of those things make sense to say they affect your coming out, like your religion, your family, your friends. But in the moment, you're not thinking about that. You know,
In the moment of what?
In the moment of like kind of realizing your sexuality and like maybe like, at least for me, coming to terms with all that in my head, I wasn't consciously thinking about, I grew up going to church, I grew up Christian, but like that wasn't something that like it wasn't something that, you know, fully affected how I felt coming out to my family.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I like knew that back then.
I don't think like religion, I was consciously aware that that was affecting it, but it's not like, oh, I'm thinking, oh, but I'm Catholic, I can't be gay. Mm-hmm. It was more like the way that your brain is wired.
Right.
From literally like 0 years old.
Right.
It didn't allow me to like I had to create new neurological pathways to understand my own attraction to women. Yeah. So I think it was less like, oh, I can't be gay. It was more like I don't even know what I'm feeling.
I don't even know how to think about that.
Yeah. It's like learning a new language.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Also, it's interesting that like I only knew you as gay.
Right.
And like, I don't even know. I think it was just, this is Sophia. Like, oh, and she's gay. Like, I don't know.
That was another really big reason I was so excited to come out. I came out like literally the first day of college. Like it was just, and that was something that I was really excited about, to just be like, because I think another big thing for me in my coming out, and I think we've talked about this and we've probably felt similarly, like when you're in high school, at least I'll speak for myself. And I think my maybe generalization of high schoolers. In high school, you almost like don't have the ability to realize that people can be more than one thing. Maybe you can make the argument that that's different now because of like what high schoolers are like.
It is, but I'm worried it's
like,
not.
Yeah, what they're like, you know, I think they're obviously every generation is becoming sort of like more liberal and like.
But I also feel like this generation, like I feel like there's a lot of teenagers that are having this like new conservative
that could be true too.
Happening.
But anyways, I was just really, I knew in high school I didn't want to come out because I didn't want to be the gay kid. Yeah. Like I just didn't want that. And so, because I didn't think people could like recognize that like I was more than one thing, and maybe myself included. But then when I got to college, like I was just like excited to be like, that's Sophia, and she's just like kind of known as like, that's who she is.
Yeah. You just start telling your friends, like, introduce me as gay.
No, I was just kind of like, when I got to college, I realized, like I was saying with the high school thing, like in college, I was just like, oh, you can be gay and like more and other things too. You don't just need to be known as like a gay kid, a gay person, whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't want to like lose the rest of my identity by just being known as like somebody who's gay. And so that was a big, driving force for me to come out in college. And like, I think I met upperclassmen that were gay and I saw them and I was like, oh, they're not known as just that.
Did you tell people in your sorority and just start being like, I'm gay? Like how, like what was your physical, not that it like needed a physical coming out, but I'm just wondering, like there's a lot of people who say like you have to continuously come out because.
Yeah, it got to the point. So when I actually came out the night that I did, I called my family and then I told my, you know, like best friends in college, that my roommate and some of my other really good friends in my dorm. And then the next couple days I like, you kind of feel like it's like a weird like little sort of tour that you need to go on and call people.
Which is so annoying.
But it was like fun. I had like all my friends from growing up, I called them and it was all really, really wonderful. And they were super loving and great. And I'm so grateful for how they responded. And then it got to the point where I was like, and if people from high school or growing up ask,
tell
you can
them.
just tell them, because I got tired of just saying I'm gay. So, and in college, I don't really remember coming out to people.
Good.
I think I just like,
word spread.
yeah, I guess word spread. We went to a smallish school. And so I was grateful for that, because I didn't want to have to.
Yeah. I think in a small school, like once people, hey, sneakers,
It's okay.
everything's okay. Once people find out, yeah, people just know.
Was that kind of your experience?
I don't know. Like, it's interesting because do you remember when you found out I was bi? Like,
No.
Yeah, right. Like, I just feel like it just kind of like not, I don't know. We also went to a school where there was a lot of gay people.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was like a novel idea,
Yeah.
which was really helpful. But it also was kind of like a bubble because I was like, being gay is cool here.
Yeah.
Not cool. Oh, yeah. Being gay was like,
Well, it's not uncool.
it wasn't uncool, but also like in these circles that I was in, like gay circles and like my gender studies program, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I love gay people. Gay people are cool.
It was like
gay
celebrated.
people are cooler.
Yeah.
Fact. I wasn't scared to come out to my family. And like when me and my cousins came out together at an extended family event, it was confusing to people. I think also because they didn't understand bisexuals. It was also a shock to the system because I was like, wait, this makes me cool. How do you guys not see that? Like, I thought everyone was like hip to that already, and they weren't. And then, yeah, and they weren't even like mad. They weren't mad because I was gay. I think that people want it, like you were saying, like a coming out tour. People want their own special moment. And so it's like, that's why coming out, I really hope that we don't have to come out in the future, that like our kids will just all of a sudden just start dating someone.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you're just dating them. Like, it's not like wait, when did you realize? Like, I mean, it's interesting to talk about now. I just hope that there's a future soon where it's not this huge moment. And I think that like I viewed it so casually and fun and in a positive way, and then it was turned into a negative thing by people I came out to, where it was like in a serious kind of, like, I say this a lot, like almost like I was unveiling a diagnosis. Like, it wasn't like I was like, by the way, I'm bisexual. And it's one thing to be like, oh my God, how did you know? That's so exciting. Like, and want to learn more. But then there's another way to be like, wait, I didn't know. When did this happen? In like this insane tone. And then there was a lot of people that were like, why didn't you tell me first?
Right.
And it has nothing to do with your relationship with them. So I just feel like we had a very different experience.
And that's so true. And like, that's something that, like you were saying, hopefully one day soon, we as a society like don't demand that gay people come out.
Right.
I think that's like the biggest thing, right? Is that like the default is heterosexuality.
Yeah.
When we talk about like a heteronormative society, that's what we mean. Like the default is you are straight until you say you are not.
Right.
And that's a great segue for me into my Gaylor
I was
thoughts,
just going to say.
Because that, I would say, like, for me is like one of my core values that like you do not, core values in the sense that like one of the things that I'm most upset at society about. If that can be a core value, like the opposite.
Core frustration.
Like the core value, I guess, is the other side of that. Like what I value is like recognizing and understanding that gay people don't have to come out and gay people don't owe anything to anybody. Other than like basic respect, but that's just like being a human.
So I just wanted to say one thing before I forgot it, because it reminded me the reason why I came out was, at least to my family, because at the time, like, I was in gender studies and gender sexuality studies, and I was like, I don't believe in coming out. I think that I should just be able to like hook up with a girl, and everyone's like, she's hooking up with girls now, whatever. But also I didn't want to tell my family I was hooking up with girls. That was like, why would I tell them that? But I also didn't want them to assume I was straight just because I was like femme.
Right.
So I think the reason why I came out was to be like, why would you assume I'm straight?
Right.
We need to stop assuming straight. Someone posts a rainbow on their story, I literally will be like, maybe that person's gay. Segue, Taylor Swift.
So like, and that, so that's my biggest, something I feel very strongly about is like, we need to all actively construct a society in which the default is not heterosexuality. And that underlying current is really like how I feel about Gaylor stuff. I've always been a Swiftie. My sister and I have always been Taylor Swift fans. My sister actually been to every tour, so she's a huge Swiftie too. I wasn't hip to the Gaylor phenomenon really until maybe before you and I started dating.
Really? Wait, you were hip to it before we started dating?
I think I like saw a couple things on like Twitter. I didn't have TikTok yet, but and I've never really been a big Reddit person, but I think I saw some like Twitter threads that were like talking about, you know, stuff. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, I'm gay. I love Taylor Swift. Really cool. Like, love thinking about that. And then obviously when you and I started dating, I learned so much more and just like became like enthralled by, first of all, how much you know about it and how much there is to analyze and to talk about. It's incredible. It's its own like universe.
And like, we went to a liberal arts college, okay? We are used to dissecting things.
We love to do it.
We both have read so much. I mean, like, I've taken some classes in your major. Like, we were both government majors. By the way, we had a class together. It was very cute.
We did. Human rights and humanitarianism. It's very important. The topic of human rights.
Human rights.
We are pro.
We're pro them. But yeah, like, if you guys went to liberal arts colleges and stuff, like, that's why I think it's funny when people like it's not that deep. And it's like, it always is.
It always is.
Art. It's art. Like,
right.
Emily, how many classes did we take where it's like, I don't know, like the philosophy of everything, right. And like Emily Dickinson and like, what did this like author mean in the 50s? Was this author trans and maybe didn't have the language for that?
Right.
There's a lot of times in gender and sexualities where we would talk about like, okay, this author is talking a lot about like androgyny,
androgyny, I think.
Androgyny, or like gender roles and stuff. Would this author now consider them and obviously not to like put labels on them, but it's interesting to think about how throughout history, like, if we have the certain language and if like maybe Emily Dickinson lived now, would she be like, I'm a lesbian?
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, it's very normal to talk about sexuality because it's an important part of like our world, but it's also so interesting to think about like how people would identify if they were like allowed to.
Yeah.
Because if they said things outright, per Taylor Swift, they would be scrutinized.
Yeah, I think I do think that that's important, like our background of like educational and like also what we find fun. Like I find it fun to like think about, like analyze things. Yeah. It's like, I studied government and African American studies, and like you spent classes just like thinking about like one page about what does this mean. And so I really take issue, especially when people talking about Taylor Swift are like, that's crazy. Why are you analyzing her lyrics? Number one, she profits off of that. So like she's putting all of this content, this information, this art into the public sphere. That's crazy. I'm sorry to think that she doesn't want us to analyze it.
Right.
Not only has she said she literally puts in Easter eggs for us to do so and that she loves that we do so, but also just more broadly, even if she didn't say that, it's normal to analyze what an artist does, especially when they're as big as Taylor Swift.
And it's public work.
Yeah. Number two, one of my biggest issues too.
And you've been wanting to talk about
I have been wanting to talk about this because, like I said, it goes to my like feelings of like this default of heterosexuality. Everybody like listen up. If you're driving, like stop. If you're doing something, no, because this is serious. If you're cleaning your house, just like take a pause. Bisexual people exist.
Yes, ally.
Because this is my biggest issue. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. Okay, here we go. Love. They're great. If they're dating, that's awesome. If they're not, that's awesome. It really doesn't have to do with if you believe in a contract, if you believe it's PR. Let's say, for argument's sake, they are together. To analyze Taylor Swift's lyrics of Maroon, of The Great War, of like choose your own adventure, of like a Gaylor lyric. Not necessarily Kaylor, but like Gaylor, Diana Agron, like Carly Kloss, like let's just get into it. Doesn't matter who. To analyze that lyric and say this is gay because of X, Y, and Z, and like your last episode on like queer flagging and like all of your content of like, so pick any of those, to say those things is not offensive to her relationship with Travis Kelce. It doesn't
disrespectful.
It doesn't invalidate her relationship with Travis Kelce.
Right.
To say that she is gay does not mean that she can't be dating Travis Kelce. Two things can be true. Bisexual people exist. And like, that's my biggest issue is when people on the internet or whoever it is say, well, number one, she's dating Travis Kelce.
Give it a rest.
It's like, whoa, this is not the point.
It's
and number
infuriating.
two, I just really, 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 really hate when people say, well, she hasn't come out yet, so she's not gay. It's like, that I think goes back to just like our conversation of like a gay tour, a like whatever. It's like, we have to stop assuming. If you say that and you have gay friends and you want to be a part of like making society like a more accepting place, then you need to rethink what you're saying.
Right.
If you say you need to come out or you can't be gay, then you can't claim to like want to like forge a better society for the future.
Ally? Totally.
Yeah, like and that's fine, but like but you have to understand that. You have to accept that. Like if you think that you can't be gay unless you come out, you have to accept that like that's homophobic, and if you really, really, truly believe that, you can't also say, I want to work to make this society a more accepting, loving place for LGBTQ people.
Because what they're really saying is everyone is assumed straight until I hear you tell me the exact words I want to hear in order to see that you're gay.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying is like, so let's use their logic. Freshman year, I'm like, well, I don't think Sophia's gay. She didn't tell me she's a lesbian.
Right.
Like, well, no, she said it to people and like whatever. And it's not offensive for me to be like, oh, I think that she's gay. People are like, well, don't say she's gay until she tells you or writes an Instagram post that says I'm gay.
Right.
And this is just another person.
Right.
To think that you're an option for me.
Exactly.
You know?
I think that's like maybe the last pillar that I have about it. And like gay is not a bad thing to say. And I love, like, we are so on the same page with this. Like, you say this all the time. But I also take issue with Swiftie fans, with people in general being like, you're calling her gay, that's bad, that's offensive, that's so gross, that's weird. It's like,
don't think about her sex. What do you have to say to people that say, don't think about her sexuality, that's like invasive?
I think that that's weird. I think that like making okay, this is what I think about it. Sexuality and sex, the act of sex, are not the same thing. We are talking about her sexuality. Like, you have to be able to separate those two things.
Do they not know what that is? It's a community. It's an identity.
It's an identity. Like, the type of sex, like, whatever. So like, that's what I would say to those people of like, you need to be able to separate those two things in your head, because when we talk about, those are the same people who love to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce together, but that's not gross and weird.
Right. That's the same thing.
Yeah. Separate this idea that like you are straight until, like, it's not innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh.
They're like, well, until she tells me, then I won't believe it. It's like this insane standard that we're forcing gay people. And this is for straight people.
Right. And once again, just because you want to make
innocent until proven guilty.
Just because people want to make the argument that Taylor Swift has only outwardly been with men, which I think is, again, arguable. Like, hello. Once again, bi people exist. Like, she could have just maybe in your mind been outwardly with men, but she could still
never ever has ever been with a girl. She could still be bi.
Right.
Like,
right.
They don't understand that either.
You don't become bi the second you kiss a girl. You can. So those are my biggest Gaylor thoughts, because I am so intrigued by like all of the analyzing of lyrics and all of that. It's so much fun. But when I'm on the internet and I see people talk about it, I'm more so like overcome by like just like annoyance and like frustration that like people, the discourse around it is so implicitly homophobic and like explicitly in some regards as well. Once again, if you want to like forge a new society, a more accepting and loving society for LGBTQ people, you cannot think that you are straight until you come out. You just can't.
Right. What do you have to say to or about queer people? Because there's some queer people, and I don't think most, I think it's a very small percentage, that are sometimes in my comments that are saying, well, I'm a lesbian, but I think it's outing her to talk about her sexuality before she has come out.
I don't think you can out a public figure that you don't have like personal specific information about. I think outing someone is a really important concept that was like intended to protect people in like really dangerous and potentially harmful environments. And I think you out somebody when you know them personally, when you have specific knowledge from that person that's like verifiable, and you tell people. I think that analyzing Taylor Swift's lyrics is completely different because, I mean, unless something, Taylor Swift hasn't texted me or called me and told me, hey, I'm gay, don't say anything. I also think that like my response to queer people and my response to straight people when it comes to certain discourses around this is like kind of similar. Like, yeah, maybe you can give more leeway to queer people, but like queer people can still be implicitly homophobic. I think a lot of queer people are. I think I was, and I think that that's something you have to actively unlearn and work at.
Yeah.
But if a queer person says she's straight because she hasn't come out yet, my response to them would be the same if a straight person said that.
Right.
All of history, there have been debates about art. And so like, great, people can think she's straight. That's great. But like, yeah, but you can't, but I think I have an issue when it becomes you're gross, you're, disgusting for thinking about her sexuality.
What is your favorite gay song of Taylor Swift's?
Okay. Favorite gay song is probably Ivy.
I thought you were going to say Dress.
Yeah, Dress too. I mean, so many, but if I had to pick one, I think I would pick Ivy. That song is so amazing. It's so like focused on like longing and like an unrequited love and like a love that's not accepted. And it also played in Dickinson and like, sorry, but like that was enough for me.
During the kiss scene.
So Ivy's my favorite gay song. The biggest Easter egg was, geez, there's so many. I don't know if it's like one for the money, two for the show. Like anything Daisy is huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. The Vogue 72 questions or whatever, when the guy was like, I'm taking my wife, it's my wife and I's anniversary, where should I take her? She's like, that's great, congratulations, and take her to Big Sur. And like, I was just like, yeah, she could have gone to Big Sur with her bestie girl, Carly Kloss, and just like loved it and been like, oh my God, this would be such a cute place for people to go on like an anniversary trip. But also I really do think that they were together.
It's been so wonderful having you on the show.
This was so fun. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. I'm honored.
I know you've been wanting to talk about your Gaylor thoughts a while because she's on the internet too, you guys. She's sleuthing in the comments.
I am.
If you don't want Sophia to hear it, don't say it at all.
No, I am. But I just am really, thank you for having me to talk about this because I feel very passionately about it.
Yeah. In
the realm of Gaylor, and then also more broadly, like if our goal is to make a better society for gay people, we need to, this discourse around Gaylor is part of that.
Yeah, of course. I love you.
I love you too.
Wait, let's have Sneakers say goodbye.
Okay.
Bye, Sneakers. Next week.